The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning. I'm Nico Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more natural, wild world.
Because we want to regain our natural health and our rights and freedoms. I'm Paige Clarke.
And it's a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater. It's clear skies, 52 degrees, and it's going to be cool for about 4 days.
Yes, a little snippy weather.
Yeah,
Maybe it's our last little play with the cold, and then we get to have spring.
Well, spring is nice, but, I mean, spring for me is April.
Yes, I gotcha.
Okay. Any questions, any suggestions for the show, please let us know. Nico at TFNN.com.
And you can contact me at Paige at TFNN.com. And we hope that you'll, pick up some of our Primal Edge and subscribe to our newsletter.
Yeah, we'd like that for sure. And we're taking your phone calls at 877-927-6648. So you were talking to me before the show started. You had this exciting evening.
Yes, I did. I was lucky enough to get to see Dr. Gerber and, Michael Greger, excuse me.
Greger, yeah.
I'm Dr. Michael Greger speak locally, and he is a phenomenal physician, author, educator on researching all the PubMed documents and kind of culminating into his really voluminous website called nutritionfacts.org.
Yeah, and he wrote this great book called How Not to Die, Discover the Foods Scientifically Proven to Prevent and Reverse Disease.
It is really impressive. Now, and he personally follows a vegan lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And what I really love about what we do here is we're talking about living a primal lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And I believe I don't like those pigeonholing of saying that you have to eat one way or the other. Mm-hmm. What I want people to do is realize that it's the processed, packaged, canned, man-made foods
that are the real problem.
And the excesses in those processed foods that are really the culprit, I believe.
Yeah, and what we've discovered, Paige, is that those empty foods are so nutritionally deficient. That's what makes us overeat. Correct. Because these foods that they come up with in the cans and the boxes and, putting things together and putting ingredients in them really disrupts our whole immune system and everything.
What's a fascinating fact is that many of these foods that you see on the shelf are actually fortified. They add back in synthetic vitamins. Well, what's the one thing they do not add back? I mean, you see it in cereals. Mm-hmm. Fortified with all the essential vitamins and minerals. But what do you not see?
What?
Enzymes.
Oh,
because if enzymes,
I don't think you can add those in, can you?
No, because then if the enzymes are there, the enzymes are going to start breaking the food down.
Yeah.
So what would happen to shelf life?
Yeah, that would be gone.
So I would submit to you that it's really the lack of enzymes, which is why I think people.
That makes a lot of sense too. And remember, why they are fortifying it is because of the processes that they've gone through have taken everything out.
Correct. Well, they weren't there usually a lot of them not there in the first place. They take them out. But that's the real drawback, is that they can never re-add in the enzymes. And that's why enzymes are the key to life. Okay. And
they're living organisms, the enzymes.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. The enzymes are grown in the bacteria. They're created, and our body creates enzymes. But enzymes are actually fermented. And that's how they create the enzymes. And they have to stay airtight, and otherwise they start taking their enzymatic actions.
And therefore, you can't put them in the boxes and cans.
But I have to tell you, his research is quite compelling, and I encourage people to Google Dr. Michael Greger and enjoy many of his well-done YouTube videos to educate people. I mean, his PowerPoints themselves are amazing. It just really holds your attention. He's got a great sense of humor, and he's really does an excellent job.
So does he talk about just nutrition, or does he talk also about exercise? Phyllis?
Well, oh yeah, absolutely. Much of his research supports the fact that exercise is a huge part. And what does exercise do? It moves the waste out of the body. So it's really about getting the good stuff in, which you and I educate people here, getting the good stuff in, getting rid of the stuff we don't need, which is detoxification, moving the body. And exercise is huge. I really would like to share the link. Maybe on the next break I'll grab my pad.
Yeah, I've got the book up on the telestrator here. It's How Not to Die, and you can get that on the Kindle or hardcover, paperback, whatever. Reasonable price. A lot of good information is there.
Oh, yes.
For sure. So I recommend people pick that up.
You know, it was really, I want to share something too. He opens up his presentation with a picture of himself as a boy of about 9 years old. And he explains that, you know, how most people end up becoming a physician. They see people they love being sick.
Okay.
And that was his impetus, that he saw his grandmother was basically put in a wheelchair by his doctors, and her cardiologist basically said, there's nothing else we can do for you. We've given you bypass and stents and all these kinds of things. And she was in her 60s at that time, and she just happened to hear Dr. Pritikin and decided to go out there. And she is actually published in Dr. Pritikin's work as pretty much a foregone case. She went on to adopt that plant-based lifestyle and lived another 37 years.
Wow.
Died at 96. So what we want to really do is take a look at what, you know, my argument is, I don't like to use the word argument, actually. My point is that that it's really enzymes are the key to life, and where we can find enzymatically dense food is where we're going to thrive. Can that be in animal foods? I think yes. Dr. Michael Greger doesn't feel that. He feels animal foods are, the evidence is quite clear that cultures that eat animal foods, but I, again, bring back the fact, as we have discussed on this show, that much of the research that Dr. Greger and others are looking at are looking at research that is based on what the standard American diet is, the corn-fed beef, the farm-raised, the pesticide-rich foods, animal foods, the poor quality that we're getting because of the CAFOs, or the confined animal feeding operations. So I think it'll be kind of an interesting comparison. Perhaps maybe we can take segments of his book. His book kind of goes over how not to die, of the top 15 causes of death in America.
Okay. Can we go over some of those causes?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah. And I think we can kind of go over some of the things that, for example, let me grab my little notes from here from last night.
Okay.
I think that, you know, everyone, I think, is aware that cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer in the United States.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of great evidence that a plant-based diet will help to reverse cardiovascular disease.
Because you're getting a lot of nutrients. And it depends where you start from, I believe, Paige. If you start from the average American diet and go to anything that gives you nutrition, I think you're going to be healthier. It just makes sense.
And I think that's one of the key points we're saying is that's why our show is called Living a Primal Lifestyle. And that's what we're doing here every day that we get up bright and early to meet with you all. So let's learn about how we can live a primal lifestyle.
Let's listen to
get
those
back
15
to the basics.
things and listen to what he has to say, and let's deconstruct it and see if it matches what we're thinking. And I think it's important to do. The number here is 877-927-6648. Paige and I will be right back. Very nice.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Back on Paige, Clarke with Nico to Haan, and we're living a primal lifestyle because we want us all to live longer and stronger, healthier, and obviously then wealthier, because health is our wealth.
It certainly is.
So, we're going to talk a little bit more about Dr. Michael Greger, a nutrition expert, physician, and founder of nutritionfacts.org. But before we do, you were just telling me over the break.
Well, we were talking about the density of foods and
nutritional density.
And usually from where you start is maybe different. If I went to Greger and said, okay, this is what I'm eating right now, he might say, hey, that's perfect. Or he may say, let's do less animal food because that's the way he thinks. But we were talking about the density of food, and it really brought to mind I was in a hurry yesterday. I didn't have any chicken left from my great farm up north, and so I thought I'd go to the local health food place down the road from us. And they only had these large pieces, and they wouldn't cut it up. And I said, so I went to Publix. And they have the Green Wise section there, which is, organic, healthier, no hormones or anything like that. And they had these chicken. We usually eat the quarter leg, So I said, cut me a couple of the smallest ones, and because they were huge. I mean, compared to the chicken that I eat, they were twice as large, which was really, and probably a younger chicken.
Right.
A chicken that's running around in the yard and in the fields and stuff and seeking its own food is not as heavy. It moves around a heck of a lot more. So we got the chicken. I prepared it the usual way, and I started eating it, and it's very tasty. Tastes different. Doesn't taste, I don't know quite how to describe it, but it's definitely not as dense. It almost melts in your mouth instead of, you have to chew it a little bit, and then it gets assimilated. After I finished, first of all, it was larger, so I couldn't quite finish the whole thing. But I was still a little bit hungry, which was interesting, because usually I have a small piece of chicken, not hungry at all. Here I had a large piece of chicken, ate most of it, and was still a little bit hungry, and it didn't sit quite the same way. I could really feel the difference. And this is only a small step down. If you're eating organic with no preservatives and the chicken was brought up humanely, that's one thing. But then if the chicken's running around finding its own food, whole different animal, I could taste the difference, I could feel the difference in me. We don't do this very often. But, sometimes you get stuck, sometimes you're on the road, and you have to eat what you eat.
So that would be the challenge, really. You and I were talking about that on the break, that when we've talked extensively here about the state of animal husbandry in this country.
Yes.
In the world, but specifically in this country. And I believe there is a lot of validity, obviously, in like the work that Dr. Michael Greger is doing. And the research clearly proves that when they compare population groups, people that eat animal foods are not faring as well in the research he has.
Right.
And I believe, although we can say, know your farmer and get your foraging chicken, many people that listen to us don't do that, and then they just go buy chicken, and maybe they're making those steps towards a better, or organic, as you said, a green, wise one. But the real question is, what does the data show? And I'm open. I want to explore that. So, let's get back a little bit about what we're talking about. This wonderful book that he has kind of outlines how not to die, the top 5 causes of death in America.
So which are what?
And let me just read the list. Obviously, we start with heart disease.
While you're finishing or looking for that, let me just read what he says here because I like this. The short answer to health is real food. It doesn't get much simpler than that, really. That means food in its natural state as it grew up on the vine, tree, bush, or on the ground. And when it comes to animal foods, the two key factors are living conditions and diet. Real food is raised in accordance with nature, and the animals are allowed to eat their natural diet without the added drugs and fillers. And
well, that's not him saying that. That's Mercola saying that.
Yeah, but he's talking about what he's saying in the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he quotes him, it's almost too easy. People want some kind of trick or magic bullet or something. There has to be some trick, there has to be some tips, but people are actually taking those 3 words, eat real food, to heart, and you can revolutionize your health just by doing that. And the real problem with animal food is how they treat the animals and how confined they are. That is just the number one thing. And what he says in his book, too, is that domestication is what ruined our food. Domestication not only of animals but of plants. That's what ruined, because we always discuss that the wild is better because there it's growing up in its natural state. Right. It's fighting for survival, and when it survives, that's a good piece of food for us.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so what's wonderful is really the top 15 causes. The number 1 cause is heart disease.
Okay.
And, it's been proven over and over again that heart disease really does totally reverse. Did I discuss that on the air, or was that on during the break that I told you about his grandmother? That he opened up his presentation with a picture of himself.
Yeah,
and,
you said that.
Yeah.
Of him 9 years old?
Yeah, and that really, his grandmother had cardiovascular disease, had multiple bypasses and so forth, and had been sent home to die by her cardiologist and so forth.
Another 30 years
she was in a wheelchair, adopted a plant-based diet, lived another 35 years, and was at her grandson's wedding. So very compelling information by when you. And I'm going to say, what does a plant-based diet have? You know what I'm passionate about, enzymes. Mm-hmm. It has a lot of live. Now, can animal foods have enzymes? Yeah, especially if you eat perhaps a well-raised steak tartare. There's the enzymes. Mm-hmm. Primitive cultures, the Inuit that have raw animals, barely eat any food. They're not cooking their food, really. But can we do that with the quality of the meat that we have in our stores mostly? No, probably not.
It has to be real high quality for sure to do that, and that's the goal. And I've often said that if you can eat it raw, it's probably really good for you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about heart disease being the number 1. Then I'll run through the list, Okay. 1 through 15. But it was, God, he's such a great speaker, and he said, it's not really a matter of whether or not you reverse your heart disease. It's the fact that when are you going to reverse the heart disease you already have. That autopsies show that at the age of 10, young people have atherosclerotic plaque streaks running. And why is this? Well, let's take a look. You and I have talked about this number of times on our show. These trans fats that became part of our food system, the way the foods are prepared when you're not eating at home. But unfortunately, these franken fats crept into our homes. They captured our mothers with ease and convenience. And
Well, especially with babies. I mean, baby food is really a huge market. That's not real food in those little jars. And most of them are soy-based, corn-based, wheat-based products.
And listen to this. He says, the question is not to prevent heart disease, the #1 killer in the United States, but the question is how to reverse the heart disease you already have, folks. So as we said out in the room, he said, you know, most everyone by the age of 10 has the beginning of this arterial scarring. And where does this come from? You know, if you don't, when we see the plaque on our teeth, that's a sign there's plaque on our arteries. And, you know, plaque on the teeth, indication of not the essential nutrients, not the essential enzymatic activity. And if that isn't happening, the plaque, if it's on our teeth, it's going to be in our arteries.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
the
amazing.
plaque really comes from processed foods.
Yeah, and you know what one of his real impressive comments was, you know, you want to know the best secret for health is that the body can heal itself given the right materials. Sounds like he's in the same camp as we are
Yeah, and
over
if you
here.
want your body to heal itself, take some Primal Edge. That's a real good start to having your body recognize what's good for it. Paige and I will be right back at 877-927-6648.
You've heard Nico Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We're talking about the book How Not to Die, and this was written by Dr.
Michael Greger.
Michael Greger, which Paige was listening to last night.
I just loved hearing him talk. I could listen to him.
He signed your book too, right?
He sure did. He said to me, Paige, please let me know if is there anything I can do to help you in your healing work.
Wow.
And I am going to call him because I really like him. And I feel like he's very authentic in wanting to get this information out. So, he saw that miraculous healing of his grandmother and that change, and that really inspired him to go to medical school. And he speaks all over the country and all over universities and colleges to try and get this idea of, a diet and nutrition, which is not something he learned in medical school. He lets you know.
Yeah, that's true, too. And we talked about the Primal Edge just before the break, and it says here...
this is a quote from him.
Yeah, it's not only the vegetable fiber and phytonutrients that feed your microbiome, but also there are other microbes in the soil in which they are grown, and that's why we use the Primal Edge ingredients, fumic,
the power
and
of fulvic and humic acid
right.
is actually the ancient soil bed broken down by the microbiome. By the microbes. Really the key essential catalysts that help us utilize the nutrition that we have.
And the fact has to do with balancing those bacteria in your gut. And he goes on to say, there's a lot of ways that we get our probiotics, prebiotics, all these terms that we use. He says, I was surprised to learn that to make sauerkraut, you don't have to add that microbial starter that you do with yogurt and things like that. You don't have to buy the bacteria like a yogurt starter. No, you simply take cabbage leaves, put them in salt water so the bad bugs don't grow, and then you have all your good bugs
and then
there.
the lactobacillus and everything takes over.
Yeah.
Interesting. Isn't that an interesting comment right there?
Well, that's most of the soured vegetables. You don't have to start.
Well, no. I was going to go farther with that point. One of our protocol that I know of for people that have just an overabundance of gas and bowel disturbance is a saltwater enema. Now think about that. Just like what he just mentioned, you just add salt and that kills off the bad bugs, so the bad bugs don't grow.
So what would grow? Yeah.
So a saltwater enema, kind of the same thing.
Well, they also, enemas are a great tool, I hear. Also for cancer, they're using coffee enemas.
Well, the coffee enemas, not to get too far off track, but my point was, he mentioned adding salt water to the environment to make sure the bad bugs don't grow.
That's why salt was so prized in the old days.
Salt, the ideology of the word is salary, salt.
Yeah,
it was prized like that.
Yeah, and in fact, when we were talking about over the weekend, I was having a discussion with people about getting ready, for a disaster and prepping and what do you store and what's good to commodity to trade. And one of the things are the spices, especially pepper and salt.
Well, you and I often talk about that the spices should be our healing cabinet.
Yeah.
Our medicine cabinet, so to speak, our healing cabinet.
And coffee is another good thing. So if you have coffee, black pepper, and you have Himalayan salt, and you have a store of those things, those are valuable commodities when the stuff hits the fan.
Yeah. And I think that's, we're kind of like jumping all over the place, but I feel like, that's important. I think it's prudent to be prepared because these are the things that help us nourish our bodies.
Yeah. Now, Al's interesting comment on the telestrator there is that the digestive system doctors highly discourage enemas. They'll tell you to take Metamucil. That's very interesting. That's probably what they would do. But that's general medicine. That's a whole different bag.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that general medicine suggests today, like the use of proton pump inhibitors to discourage stomach acid, for more than 14 days. Really, that's a whole thing. But the Metamucil is a suggestion that you need more fiber. So it says Dr. Greger is saying, you need more fiber. And where do you get fiber? You get it from vegetables.
Yeah,
okay? And the fiber, why do we need the fiber? Because our bodies love fiber. Because we are a microbiome of microbes.
Yeah,
we have 10 times the microbes in our body than we have our human cells. And we have trillions of human cells.
And natural carbohydrates that are grown in the wild, like spices and vegetables and fruits, all have natural fiber in it. And it makes sense because that's what balances out the sugar or the sucrose in those things. It doesn't impact your body quite as fast as it does if you're drinking like a glass of orange juice.
And what else do they have enzymes. They come packaged
The
with
word of the day is
the
enzymes.
necessary raw materials to help you utilize that nutrition and unlock it so your body can use it.
So let's go through that list again. We
Okay,
have
now
heart
we're on number
disease.
2,
Okay.
cancer. Okay, different
that's
types
number
of
2. Wow.
different types of cancers. You can kick more cancer tush with a plant-based diet, is what he said. It's just the evidence points to it. Why might that be? And I really did, as I said, I love to be open-minded, and I do like plants, plant-based food. I have more of that in my diet.
I think, again, it depends where you start from. Excuse me. You're not going to, if, say, you're in the north of Canada and you're with an Eskimo village and one of the villagers there has some kind of cancer, you probably wouldn't take the native diet of that Eskimo and say, now you have to eat plants.
No, I agree with you. There's some. We've got to take everything in a contextual type of way.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about is this is a lot of research of what's going on in our country, and when we take people away from the sad standard American diet, and there's really not, it's hard to compete with the cancer-stopping power of a plant-based diet. And why is that? What is a plant-based diet? It is an enzyme-rich diet, okay? And enzymes and the movement, and really powerful slides he showed on the power of movement, the power of lymphatic movement. The lymphatic system is our garbage system.
Well, that's why exercise is so good for you, because that moves everything.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying.
So what's number 3?
Okay, so number 3, number 3 is really certain infections, blood infections. His list, I apologize, I don't really have them all in order because his book is doing them, he breaks it down into different diseases. But let me just kind of go along and talk about the CDC says the causes of death are the top 15. It's heart disease, cancer, COPD has now taken the place of 3. COPD being chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder. Well, I'm going to say to you that I believe a lot of this can also be a result. We're seeing COPD even in non-smokers. This is respiratory dysfunction. In traditional Chinese medicine, we know that if the large intestine, our waste removal system, because we don't exercise and move, and we're eating things we can't digest because they're enzyme deficient, is backed up, the meridians that work in tandem are the large intestine and the lung. So might we see some dysfunction in the lung?
There's a connection there, right?
That's I'm taking that. And there's tremendous evidence that COPD has a lot of help with a plant-based diet. And how else can we help COPD, the number 3? Potassium-rich foods, folks. And where do we find potassium-rich foods? Again, we're going to find that in our wild-grown, plant-based diet. These beautiful, backyard gardens could probably be the best pharmacy. That's for sure. Pharmacy with an F instead of with a PH that you could ever have. But we got a break coming up, and we'll keep going. We'll go over some of these things, and so make sure you give us a call. Yeah, if you want to have a question, give us a call. 877-927-6648.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Hello. We're talking about how not to die.
Yep.
Okay, according to Dr. Michael Greger, one of the in the top 5 of how diseases that are on the top of the list in our country, so Alzheimer's has really moved up. And what we're seeing is a lot of people are developing Alzheimer's. 4 million Americans, developing it yearly. And it's what we see is that when people who have Alzheimer's cut down, this is one of the statistics, he said, cut down on meat, dairy, eggs, and increase their veggies, legumes, and whole grain foods, there's a decrease in dementia. There's a inverse correlation with the more you increase your vegetables, the greater decrease in dementia. We've talked often about how people have reversed dementia with the inclusion of saturated fat of coconut oil. Remember the doctor who's local here? And Dr. Greger is not a big fan of saturated fat. I'd love to really bounce. I'm gonna have him on. I want to pick his brain because he's got a lot of great points. But again, why did we see that improvement with these people with dementia? Because I believe these people were so overrun with the pro-inflammatory omega-6 fats from eating standard American diet, salad dressings made with, rancid seed vegetable oils. A lot of people think they're eating healthy when they eat salads, but if they're overdoing it on omega-6 and they're not getting enough wild-caught fish, they're going to have an imbalance of these fats.
Yep.
So any of these more healthier fats, and we believe.
Yeah.
A monounsaturated fat like olive oil and coconut oil can help provide a better balance. Flaxseed oil to kind of balance this and our essential fats that we can get from some of our animal foods.
I like some of the things that he says about nutrition packed things that we take and we kind of take for granted, like our organic teas that we may sip on in the evening. And he says these things are so powerful, why not use them other ways? And he says just throw a few leaves in a smoothie. And there you get your phytochemicals and those nutrients that you really need to digest things with. And these are nice suggestions, and it just goes to show you how powerful these teas, these green and black teas from China are.
Oh, I want to tell you something. One of my mentors, Dr. McWilliams, has taught us. He said, there's herbal medicine, and then there's homeopathy. And in the middle, there is tea. See? You got your herbal tincture, really concentrated. Right. You've got your homeopathy, where really none of the signature of the product is in there. And tea is in between. People really underestimate the power of tea. I use tea.
Universal drink.
I use tea tremendously when I help people make healing food choices.
And it's it's also a nice little ritual. I mean, just about everywhere in the world you go, you're welcomed into somebody's home or hut even, and you're offered tea. In the United States, a lot more times maybe coffee. Same type of thing, though. But it's a nice It's something that really just kind of breaks the ice. You have a little sip of tea, good nutrition, you sit there, you look the person in the eye, and you start a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so still top on the list, diabetes.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's probably moved into number 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. Actually, it's actually dropped down because the COPD and Alzheimer's are kind of snuck up. But, we know that it's a chronic disease, and what we know is that many times when people start to develop blood sugar issues, these other diseases are at the top of the list. Big correlation between kidney and heart disease and diabetes. But plant-based diets,
We're talking about organs, too. We're talking about our vital organs here.
You got it. Plant-based diets are low-calorie. And there was a great study he showed us that, was it because they lost weight that they reversed their diabetes when they were on a plant-based diet? I mean, let's face it. You can go on a plant-based diet. You can eat, bring the salads on. I mean, you can
pretty much just eat all day and you probably won't gain weight.
Right, exactly. In fact, but what one of these studies showed was that even people who just absolutely stuffed themselves to the point that they did not lose weight, these people that were insulin dependent, within 16 days, they cut their insulin number in half. Even if they didn't lose weight, they reversed their blood sugar issue significantly in 16 days. So I think what we're trying to say is it's not just the weight loss. So he piles through studies. I mean, boy, I think that would be great. I wish I could just sit around and do that. I wish that's what I did because I love reading.
Well,
but
you kind of do that.
Well, I do, but I don't have the knowledge that he has. But, it's really it's a really compelling information. So people who've had diabetes for 20 years can change their statistical numbers so that they're, in effect, not a diabetic in 16 days. I would like to ask him, we've also heard about people that adopt a ketogenic type of diet and how they reverse blood sugar issues. Ketogenic diet, folks, being very few carbohydrates, very low, and using what they consider healthier fats. So I think is I like a lively discussion, and I hope you guys will humor me and we'll explore this because there can be reasons to be on either side of the spectrum,
Yeah, and I propose that if you eat this way on either side of that spectrum, you're probably going to be healthy, but you'll also be able to tell whether it's right for you or not, because if you're leaning more to vegetables and it's not quite agreeing with you, you go over to the meat a little bit more, and you're doing fine. So, people who live in colder climates are naturally going to have to eat meat because if you're eating local and, from the local area and you're eating organic like we want to eat, you're going to have to go to animals because the vegetables don't grow for most of the year.
Like the Inuit,
but even in northern United States.
Right.
If you're living off the land and stuff, you're not going to find those vegetables. You have to pickle them and do all kinds of things.
I think our conversations would be very interesting and very respectful because we know there's good stuff on both sides, but I really liked one point he made. And he says, how many people, and I'm going to use the word cop-out, whether it be their doctor or themselves, say, well, everything in moderation. And he said, do you want to have moderate health? You want to have moderate fitness?
Yeah.
You have moderate results in your health? Yeah. No, that's not true. It may very well be that in moderation, let's face it, alcohol is, distilled from vegetables. Yeah. You could be eating a plant-based diet and drinking alcohol.
What my professor Eduardo de Lima always says, you need to go for the best. Why not? Why not do the best movement? Why not eat the best food? Why not?
And that's the quest for the best.
Yeah.
And Dr. Greger is really helping us figure out what is the best for our long-term health.
Let's end the segment with this. Dr. Greger is a vegan, a choice he made both for health and for philosophical reasons. He says there's a few things that you don't get from animal food. Two nutritions are a great concern, B12 and keratin. B12 is an issue because anybody eating a plant-based diet, it doesn't get the B12. It's critical. It only comes from animal food.
No, that's not true.
Well, mostly.
It comes from, that was something that he said, that's where most people get it, but it's actually fermented from microorganisms.
Through fermented foods, yeah. And that creatine is an animal protein essential for transport of fatty acids.
You mean the word carnitine?
Carnitine?
You said creatine because that is something different. So we're talking about carnitine.
Carnitine, excuse me. I always have a little problem with pronunciation. It's my old Dutch coming out of me, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, he says the enzyme carnitine is upregulated by about 20% of people who eat plant-based diets, but the reason is still unknown. It could be due to the fiber content or other things. Carnitine is in mussels, it is in meat, because animals make it. We are animals, so we can make it too, but you have to actually be in the process of making it through a proper diet.
Yeah, so that's what he's saying. If people who have been eating meat all their lives and they adapt a vegan or vegetarian diet, they can experience some serious issues because they are not able to make that switch on the carnitine.
Yeah.
So what do? You take carnitine supplementation to help that.
Yeah,
so be
and
aware
same
of
with
that.
the K2 and the vitamin D too. Okay, we'll be right back, folks. So we got another segment coming up to close it out.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV. But if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Join John Logan as he teaches you trading techniques utilizing the TAS Profile Scanner. The Global Market Pulse, next on TFNN.
So we've been exploring How Not to Die, the wonderful book written by Dr. Michael Greger,
And
founder.
we're doing pretty well. We're still here.
Yeah, you're right. And founder of nutritionfacts.org. I certainly hope I can reach out to him because he told me if he could help me with my healing work, he'd be there. So I'm going to call him and maybe ask him to, answer a few questions for us and banter back. So let's talk a little bit about another chronic illness that is cause of death in this country. It's kidney disease. And you wouldn't be surprised to hear that I think many of us have heard that when people have kidney disease, they're not able to do filtration. Kidney is our last stop filtration effort. If we didn't digest it, if the liver couldn't detoxify it, we recirculate it, and those kidneys become the last resort filtration.
Yeah. It's a problem in a lot of animals too, our pets. A lot of kidney problems because they're eating a lot of our
Well, what are we giving them?
Yeah,
We're giving them these processed, enzymatically deficient foods. You know, Dr. Pottinger at the turn of the century proved that, Pottinger's cats, that devitalized food. And what is the word devitalized, guys? I want to say vitamins and minerals are important, but they're cofactors. It's the enzymes. It's getting food and eating it in its right form. Interesting study he showed. Meat eaters had a 73-fold increased chance of dying from kidney disease. And why is that? Again, we could also suggest that they're eating their meat improperly prepared. Yeah. But it's really about the structure of the kidneys, folks. The animal foods do increase the workload on the kidneys, and as we age, we need to be more mindful of making sure that we give our bodies the enzymes that help to digest proteins.
This is interesting, too. It used to be that if you were a vegetarian, you had to be healthy by kind of default because those foods were great.
Yes.
There was good stuff to eat, but now we have the vegan donuts, we have vegan lard, we have vegan ice cream, we have vegan everything. It's like gluten-free thing. Celiac patients used to be very healthy, but now we have all this junk food that is so-called healthy. It's called diet food. It's called, it's free of this, it's free of that. It doesn't mean it's healthy. If it's free of something, it means it's not in its original form.
Absolutely. We have a lot of vegans and vegetarians that are living off of things like Doritos.
Yeah.
They're gluten-free.
Yeah.
But they've got trans fats and a lot of processed carbs. And he's so passionate. He spends a lot of time on universities and colleges reaching out to people. I really like his work. So number 10 was interesting. It was suicide.
Wow, that's the disease.
And that is actually, isn't that interesting? How not to die, causes and so forth. Suicide, those who eat healthier are healthier. And what do we know with people that suffer from mental illness and perhaps feel they have this as their resort? They are inflamed. Yeah. And we know that this inflammation happens when we have an imbalance in these essential fatty acid, folks. We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah. And suicide, I do believe, is a disease because it's not a natural condition. I mean, I've never had any thought of me ending my own life, ever. It doesn't seem natural. So you have to be in a very low place to do that. And that's a society thing, I believe.
In the study he showed in our
and
talk...
food contributes too, of course,
Yeah, in the study he said people that decrease their eggs and chicken live longer or have a healthier neurological health. So let's dissect that a little bit.
Depends on the chicken. Sure.
Yeah, it depends on the chicken and depends on the egg. And in commercial America, what kinds of fats are these chickens and eggs being fed? They're being fed rancid, trans fat, vegetable oils, omega-6, pro-inflammatory. And I thought the next situation that we're seeing a high incidence of death in this country is septicemia or blood infections. And
you get that from a hospital, probably, huh?
Well, we get it from everywhere. We get it from undigested food, folks. Maybe we'll come back and, well, we can't. We're done.
We're done.
We're done. Well, we'll talk some more. I hope you enjoyed. If you get a chance, check out Dr. Michael Greger, MD's book, How Not to Die. And that's what we're here to do, is to live primal.
Not to die. That's
so we can live longer, stronger, healthier, wealthier. So you all have a great time, and we'll see you on the next show.
Have a great day, folks.
See you next time.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.